I mean, you saw the title of the video. You saw the thumbnail. You know what you're getting into. We're going to talk about a woman who's trying to marry a copy of Tetris. Tetris! Freaking Tetris! The video game!
Hey, RGT 85. Hey, Sean.
Oh my God, it's Stevie Richards! Yes, folks, that is right. Obviously, love can blossom anywhere. And while I may not be an expert in love, I know I love video games, but I think I love them in a different way than this lady in Florida does. Because this woman in Florida is trying to marry a copy of Tetris. Tetris the video game. Tetris the block dropping simulator with Russian backgrounds. Tetris. Tetris. Let's look at this news story together, shall we? So this young lady's name is Narul Majabin Hassan. She's 20 years old. She also prefers to be known as Fractal Tetris Huracan, and she is in love with Tetris. Now, before falling in love with Tetris, she was in a relationship with a calculator named Pierre. Now, I actually have some questions about this calculator because when you're talking about a calculator, you know, there are many different types of calculators. There's a little standard Casio calculator, you know, with the 9 buttons on it. That's pretty basic. But what was Pierre? Was Pierre one of these standard Casio calculators, or was he like a TI-89? A TI, you know, you could do a lot of stuff with those. I remember playing video games on TIs and drawing little stupid pictures back in algebra. So what was Pierre? I need to know more about Pierre's background, and I feel like that will help me understand this current relationship with Tetris. Tetris! Fractal started her relationship with Tetris back in September of 2016 and now spends up to 12 hours a day playing it on websites, her phone, and her Game Boy. Naturally, it's an intimate relationship. Fractal says she sleeps with Tetris and enjoys a physical relationship with Tetris-themed objects, including Tetris hard drives and cushions. Part of the relationship is the satisfaction I get from clearing lines and clearing them as quickly as possible. So this is now what we're trying to marry, but we're having intimate relationships with Tetris-themed items and Tetris blocks and Tetris plushies. I don't really think that that's what the Tetrises, or Tetri, were made to be for. I think you were just actually supposed to put this game in your NES and then pick up a controller and play it. And if we're trying to marry the copy of Tetris, would the copy of Tetris be happy that we are cheating with other Tetris merchandise? Because I have other pieces of Tetris here. Let's see. What about, let's see, what do we got here? Puyo Puyo Tetris. Now, am I allowed to lay in bed with Puyo Puyo Tetris while the normal Tetris is here? Is this going to impact my relationship? Is this maybe, you know, a relative of the Puyo Puyo Tetris with the standard Tetris? Should I invite Puyo Puyo Tetris to my wedding with Tetris? I have a lot of questions. And is Pierre invited to the wedding? The calculator, who may be a Casio, he may be a TI-89. We don't know about Pierre, but I want to know if Pierre will be invited to the wedding. It just seems rude to not invite Pierre, especially with this relationship, you know, starting back in September of 2016. But I want some more details, so let's read on. I think Tetris is so beautiful. He is about perfection, and he stimulates your mind. Physically, I get that feeling that people in relationships get, that you know they are the right one. I love him so much and get an immense sense of satisfaction with him. I have a strong connection with him and invested so much in him. So Tetris evidently is a him. I did not realize that this cartridge, this standard square gray cartridge, was a him and given a gender and a sexual identity. I have many questions now. What about my copy of Lolo? What about my copy of Lunar Pool? What about my copy of Mickey Mousecapade? Which genders are these cartridges? Because if Tetris is a male, am I to assume that all cartridges that look like this and have this sort of shape and, you know, pretty much the same thing, the innards are a little different and the label is different, but is the rest of them all male? Are all my NES cartridges male? I have a lot of questions now, and I'm assuming Pierre was a male as well as the calculator, so are all calculators male? Because that would sort of be weird to me, because I don't know, it's maybe because it's not a person, it's a cartridge, it's Tetris! Fractal plans to get married to Tetris when she graduates, with a committed ceremony with friends in attendance. I want to say that I'm married to Tetris and have a legitimate ceremony. I want everyone to be there. I feel like that would be an official thing which would set it in stone and say, I love you and I want to prove it to you, by making it permanent, calling myself Mrs. Tetris. Factual identifies as an objectum sexual, meaning she's attracted to physical objects rather than human beings. She's not alone in this identity, and others have formed relationships with train stations and chandeliers. Okay, so we're just gonna ignore the train station and the chandelier thing because that's just a little out there for me. But in order to marry something, you see, that's where things become interesting because we're gonna kind of get serious. Obviously, this video has been very tongue-in-cheek, but when you start talking about marriage and whatnot, you have to start looking at things like taxes. You have to start looking like things like life insurance policies and, you know, prenuptial agreements. How is this gonna work out? You know, are you entitled to sort of revenue generated by Tetris because you married a Tetris cartridge? Is there going to be someone who's going to marry you to a Tetris cartridge? Because last time I checked, you can't really get a life insurance policy out on this. You can't really sign a prenup with this. You can't really do anything with this. And then the whole tax thing, would you be getting tax, you know, benefits and brackets and stuff like that and tax deductions because you were married to a cartridge? You are technically married if you marry this Tetris cartridge. Look, people, I'm not going to read any more of the story because it's kind of out there for me. I don't care whether you are straight, whether you're gay, whether you're a single male, you're a single female, you're a transgender, you're gender fluid, whatever. Do what you want to do. You know, that is all cool. But saying that you're going to marry a Tetris cartridge, I'm sorry. You have to draw the line somewhere. People can be happy as long as they're not hurting themselves. I get that. You could be in love with something. I get that. I'm obviously in love with video games. I think all of you guys who are subscribed to this channel are in love with video games to some certain degree. But all because you're in love with something doesn't mean you necessarily have to marry it. I also love my mother, but I'm not trying to marry her. I also love Diet Dr. Pepper, but I'm not trying to marry it. Or am I? Maybe this person's really smart. And maybe they'll get like a sponsorship from like Tetris and they'll get more free Tetris stuff. And then people will just send this Tetris stuff. And then I can marry a Diet Dr. Pepper and then I could get free Diet Dr. Pepper. Maybe this person isn't so crazy. Maybe I'm the crazy one. Maybe my thinking is just that backwards and I need to get on this train and I need to get on this bandwagon and get on with my life and realize that I'm supposed to be married to Diet Dr. Pepper and I could be Mr. Pepper or Mr. Dr. Pepper. And so we're going to rebrand the channel. I'm going to be RGT85, no more. I'm going to be Mr. Dr. Pepper and that's how you will address me and that's what all my merchandise will be. And we're just going to talk about Diet Dr. Pepper from now on. You know what's really sad? I wonder if this is considered cheating with the Tetris cartridge. How you doing? So obviously I had a little fun with this video, but I don't know, it was just such a bizarre story to me that I wanted to share it with you guys because legitimately this person is trying to marry a Tetris cartridge. I wish them all the luck in the world. I hope everything goes great in their life, but I think they might want to reevaluate things if they're really trying to marry a Tetris cartridge. I think there's maybe something more going on within themselves, or maybe I'm just completely wrong. So let me know in the comment section down below what you think about our friend who's trying to marry a copy of Tetris. And thank you for checking out this video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that like button. Like I said, I want to know what you guys think of our friend who's trying to marry a Tetris cartridge in the comment section down below. And I don't know, maybe you have a friend who's married a video game before. If so, let me know how the ceremony went. And maybe I can get invited to the Tetris wedding. And maybe I'll find Pierre the calculator and fall in love with him. And me and Pierre will run off together. I'll catch you guys next time. Later.
RGT 85! RGT 85!